everyone. Oh, I need to clean this lens. Sorry about that. I was biking earlier, so the phone was tucked in. And welcome. I'm so excited everyone is here. It is Sunday service. And I wanted to talk to the ladies about self-confidence. I grew up not having confidence, and it took decades to finally feel confident in myself. And I want to say it's like a snowball effect. It's like an avalanche effect. In the more you believe in yourself, the more you continue and strengthen that. It's like a muscle. It's like going to the gym. So I wanted to give some advice today on how to feel more confident in yourself, feel more magnetic, attract more to yourself. So I wanted to get started today. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. My name is Lisa Petrick. If you're new here, I speak on spirituality, vulnerability, emotions, reprogramming your subconscious mindset, which is a big way of saying changing the way you think about yourself, changing the way you experience your life, people, relationships, situationships, and seeing things as not necessarily against you, but for you, reframing things. I like to talk about the spilled milk theory, and that you're late for work, you're rushing out the door, and you spill milk. And old Lisa would be irate. I would be so angry. I would be frustrated. I would be, it would ruin my day. And I've learned now to lean into making fun of it, laughing about it, dancing into it, making it a joke, ha ha ha. I almost see it now as an opportunity to rest. It's almost like I've been put in a spiritual timeout. It's almost like uni or God or whatever you believe in. It's like, okay, you're going too fast. You're not being present. You're trying to force something in a certain direction. So I'm going to make you slow down. So for me now, when I have a situation that causes that, I laugh because I know that it's a greater power that's reminding me to chill out, to take a pause. So I embrace it, I lean into it. And I ran into someone last night. You guys, for any of you that know me, you know that I go to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock because I don't drink and nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. And I was out past 1 o'clock last night, dancing away. Yes, I was sober dancing away at this spot in Chicago called Goodnight John Boy. It's got like the disco floors and they play like all these old school songs. I knew I had been there too long when the playlist reset and all the songs that I had heard when I first walked in started replaying. So that was my cue to leave. But I definitely could see the difference between my old self and my new self in the fact that I was just dancing. I didn't care who was watching because I think it's a big thing now. People are afraid to be and exist because everyone can film them. Everyone can literally make a reel or a TikTok about them. And so what? I'm at this phase where, I don't mean to quote Mel Robbins because I actually don't like Mel Robbins. I feel like she steals all her things, but I don't have the receipts to prove that. It's just allegedly, but let them. There were some people last night that I could tell were not my cheerleaders, and I didn't let that impact me. I actually turned around and just danced even more because old me would have performed. Old me would have felt uncomfortable, self-conscious. I would have sat in the corner or probably left early. But instead, I took it as an opportunity to go harder. Because nothing irritates someone that's your hater more than you being more confident. And how do you get this confidence? So I was raised in a household where nothing was suitable. Nothing made my parents happy, both mother or father. So I was constantly eggshells, performing, pretending. And when you don't know yourself, you don't know how to stand in yourself. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's get into that a little bit. So if you don't know what you stand for, if you don't feel comfortable and confident in standing up for yourself, knowing your preferences, when someone asks you hey, how do you feel about X? And you don't feel comfortable or confident to say your opinion, you're not strong or comfortable with yourself. So until you are comfortable with yourself, I feel like confidence is hard. I feel like there are performative confident people. I call them narcissists because I think a narcissist is actually very insecure. I think a narcissist is performing that they're secure and pretending. And that's why they vampire energy suck off of people, because they can't be their own confidence. So they have to leech on and drain someone that actually has vibrancy and magnetism. And that's why they love empaths, because we can sense things on people and be accommodating, and a narcissist like loves to eat that up. So I think for probably 3 decades of my life, I was a narcissistic snack. Every narcissist in any room would see that I was insecure, vibrant, magnetic, powerful, but I couldn't recognize that. So they would see that as an opportunity. They would swoop in, love bomb. They would, be really bold up front, these grandiose gestures. Every love language that a man could win me, they were doing. They were like just stockpiling. I'm like, oh, let me give you words of affirmation. Oh, let me give you gifts. And oh, let me do this. And oh, let me hold your hand. And like every love language, they were just piling it on. And as soon as I was like 3 months in, like, okay, all right, it's safe. Whoop! They would just rip the floor out from underneath me and I would be jolted. And that was my routine until 2022, when tragically my brother passed away. And I chose to lean into celibacy and not dating a lot and just relaxing into myself. Now, what does that mean? 2022, my brother passed away, and I just realized when you lose someone, you realize who actually is your supporter. Not a lot of people are able to talk to someone about tragedy or someone losing someone. So instead of being supportive and helpful and healing, they just go quiet. We're not judging. I'm not upset that they don't have the capacity, because listen, everyone is trying pretty much the best that they can. Everyone on planet Earth is doing the best that they can in that moment. Okay, so when you meet, ladies, when you meet a man and he is at this level, that is his best level. That he's probably down here and performing a little bit to get up here. So that's something to remember. When you meet someone, they're at the highest that they will be. That's what they're gonna be. So don't think like, oh, like they're gonna become more, they're gonna like show more, whatever. No, what they're showing you on the first date, how they are taking care of things, speaking to you, showing up for you, that is going to be the rest of the relationship, ladies. And if you think you can change a man, I am so sorry to tell you that won't be happening. You can't change anybody. You cannot force anybody into anything. You can try, you can push, and they can pretend. But I'm gonna speak on experience, especially as someone that coaches and helps people with their subconscious rewiring. They have to want the change. As a hypnotherapist, I understand that I am a guide. I cannot make anyone change or become anyone that they don't actually genuinely want to be. And so this is something that confidence is like a really big aspect of what I do. I love going into a session with a client, asking them just basics about themselves, I love to ask about childhood, because everything in your life revolves around your childhood. I'm so sorry to tell you that cliche, oh, how your childhood was is who you are. It is. I'm sorry. It is cliche, but it is factual, because what you experience from 0 to 7 specifically is what you become. The foods that are introduced to you become normal. The way you are spoken to becomes your normal. The people that your parents allow in their energy space becomes normal. So if your parents are allowing people to mistreat them or take advantage of them, you are more likely to be the same. If your parents are rude, cutthroat, behaving in a way, it's more likely that you will also copy, mirror them, and become like them, right? So it's not uncommon for you to, in your 20s, feel less confident, because you've been performing like your parents. You've been emulating those in the home that are in your vibrational space. So when you are standing in front of someone, if they are closer than fingertips away, You are sharing a vibration. You are sharing an energy. So when you are living in a home with people that have a specific vibration and energy, that's why you become like them. And then in your 20s, you're like, this isn't mine. Like, I don't like how I am. I don't like how I'm speaking. I don't, like, for me, my mom did not have confidence. So she dated narcissistic and, abusive men. And so I was just repeating what I had witnessed. And when my mom was having a bad day, we have ice cream. When my mom was having a good day, we have ice cream. So I became an emotional eater. I developed an ED. I got help for that with hypnotherapy in 2006 is when I worked with one. I had been modeling. I had an agency in New York and my hip bones were protruding, and I sent them a photo and they were like, hey, you need to lose a little bit more. And I was like, those are like my hip bones sticking out. So I used hypnotherapy to help me because I was using food as a reward, but also a punishment. So, you had a bad day, eat this. But then the next day, we ate that, so let's work out for 4 hours and only eat an apple today. So like I was like yo-yoing, which is the worst thing you can do for your metabolism, ladies. Please don't do that. But it was also reaffirming my lack of confidence because I was performing for my agencies. I was performing for clients, which obviously that was my job, right? To perform and look a certain way because everybody looks bigger on camera. And I am a thick girl, right? I have curves. And in modeling years ago, 2006, that was not a thing. Kardashian had not made curves, something that people aspired for. So ads didn't have that. They were like real thin. I actually had a boyfriend while I was in my ED tell me, I'm not attracted to you because you don't look feminine. You've lost all your curves. You look like a boy. Like I miss the curves. That's what I fell for. And now I love my curviness. I'm not ashamed of it. I do still model. Curves have become more whatever, but I wasn't confident. You would see a model and you would think and assume that they have confidence, but a lot of the times they have the least confidence. So how did I get confidence? So my brother tragically passed away in 2022, and a lot of people didn't know how to have conversations with me. They didn't know how to show up. They didn't know how to hold space. I had one amazing woman in my life at the time who would literally text me, have you eaten today? I know, it's like so simple, but when you are grieving and mourning the loss of a close family member, that simple statement is so supportive. She would also send like, have you been outside today? All the other people that were trying were generally saying, how are you? Which if you've never had a tragic loss or like a rock bottom, to ask someone at rock bottom, how are you, is probably one of the most infuriating statements you can ask them. Because like, how the do you think I am? How do I even answer that appropriately? Because like, I want to like slash someone right now. Like I want to like throw things against the wall. Like I'm not well, right? Like I'm either crying or I'm angry or I'm numb. It's probably one of those three. So like in the moment when you ask me that, maybe I'm numb and I don't have the energy to reply. And maybe in an hour, I'm going to want to throw my phone. So it's an uncomfortable, like I know it's the capacity that people have, again, not judging, but it's not very supportive or helpful. So when my brother passed, I lost a lot of my friends. When my mama passed away in 2020, I had become a socialite in Chicago and going out everywhere, and I knew everyone and I knew all the clubs and I didn't wait in line, and it was like, obviously it was cool. I'm in this mourning of my mother and I'm struggling and suffering, and like, I have all these new friends that like think I'm cool. So I must be cool. And I was leaning into it, and I was sad and shattered inside, but I was drinking more than ever and out every single night and just talking to and allowing the wrong people into my space and not confident, not happy. My body was bloated and inflamed. I was the biggest I'd ever been. I, disliked how I looked, and, that was making me emotionally eat more and drink more. And after my brother lost his life, I quit drinking. I quit dating. I quit, meeting people where they were and started allowing people to show me that they could meet me where I was. Because when you are from a rock bottom, you have to climb yourself out. You could maybe not and go in a different direction and be unfortunately down a path that exacerbates and just snowballs into the down, which is why it's so important for you to have confidence and rewire your subconscious programming. Now, what does that look like? I've studied NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and it's how you speak about yourself, the words that you use, the expectations for what you have for yourself alters and shifts your vibration. So if you are going into a job interview, and in the interview, before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview, you're like, I didn't get it. There's no way. You're telling your vibration to radiate that you aren't deserving, that you are in lack, that you shouldn't, that you can't, that it won't happen. So you're almost letting the energy know that you don't want what you actually want. So with confidence, it's the same thing. You have to genuinely feel in your body that you are deserving of it. Now, something that I struggle to relate to is that I've studied this now for decades. I physically cannot speak negatively to myself. I can't say it out loud. I can't think it as a thought. It is not my knee-jerk reaction to put myself down, to say something disgusting about myself. I physically, even on this channel, when I try to give examples, I physically have trained myself, not only from studying it, but I also self-hypnotize myself, which is possible. And I work with so many people trying to remind them that what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're believing is your reality. We are all living in a TV show. We're all in the Truman Show. We all have our own version of reality. Now, Truman was being manipulated by the characters for the broadcast. You are being manipulated by the opportunities that you are allowing into your space, into your reality. My favorite thing about healing is when you are finished with a person, you never see them again. It is the coolest thing ever. When you have learned from the lesson and conquered that level of the game, you not only never see them again, but if they actually try to come back, you are so untriggered by it that, like, I actually recently had this. I've talked about this on my channel several times. I had a twin flame that I met in 2013. And I was so low confidence. I had just quit working for my father after 14 years. I was very lost about my career. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I just felt shattered. I didn't have any family. We were estranged, all of them, and I was very lonely. And I moved to the city, and this man found me in a restaurant and just like love bombed me. Within like a few weeks, he said he like wanted to marry me and have kids. So I would call that love bombing. Now, did he actually like me and want things with me? Sure. But for someone that was in low confidence and lost, that was like catnip, right? Like I just fell so hard for this little twin flame. And then 2 months after that, he ripped the rug out and was like, you broke my heart. I want nothing to do with you. Go away. And that's when my healing started. And that's when I started building my confidence. And for, what is that? That was 2013. For 13 years now, we have cat and mouse, where he will like pop back into my life every year or two and re-trigger me. And I'll be like, maybe it'll work this time. And then he runs away again. And he reached out recently on Father's Day. How strategic of him to reach out on Daddy Issue Day. And I was so unbothered. I knew I had finally gotten myself to a healthy place of confidence. I knew that the outside external forces of him, of men, were no longer triggering me, that I had finally leveled that up. And so he's in my inbox and I'm just like, he asked me a question and I didn't even answer the question. I said something like I went back and read it later and I'm like, he asked me something and I said something completely different. Like I couldn't even process what his sentence was because I was so unbothered and uninfected by his energy, which I used to be so triggered and so like, whatever. And I equate that to the confidence that I've earned, because confidence is earned. You have to rewire your beliefs in yourself. Losing my brother forced that reckoning. So when you aren't allowing the wrong people in your space, your vibration levels up, your energy levels up, what you attract levels up. So if you politely set boundaries and people leave, yes, We were taught in high school, it's quantity over quality. That's wrong, right? I want you to have like maybe 3 friends. Now, you can have a ton of acquaintances, but people that you trust, people that you rely on, people that you tell your secrets to, maybe 2 people. Because everyone else is in their own little world. There's no way that you have like 20 best friends. I'm sorry. When someone tells me they have 20 best friends, sis, you don't. I'm just here to tell you, you don't. You have 20 acquaintances and you have 20 people you can talk to. They probably like you. They probably think you're fun and enjoy you. But if you were in a jail in Mexico and they had to sneak across the border and get you back, I'm gonna bet money they won't be doing that. And I want you to really reassess the relationships that you have, because when you are allowing your energy to drip and leak into these people that aren't fully invested in you, you're filling their cup. You're not filling your cup. And I need you to pour into your cup. I need you to pour into your confidence, your preferences, what it is you want, what it is you like want to attract. I need you to pour all of that energy that you are dripping into those other 20 best friends and date yourself. Love yourself, relationship yourself, take yourself to dinner. It's, for me now, it's normal because I've been traveling solo since 21 years old. I went to Europe for the first time for 4 weeks. When you go to Europe in your 20s by yourself and you don't know anybody, it's a very culture shock, number one, but it's a very life-changing experience. I don't understand the question. Oh. I mean, you do have a cup. You are the cup. You're saying that you just have such low cup that you're like in the negative. I mean, when my brother passed, trust that my cup was in the negative. I mean, that was my rock bottom. I mean, losing my mom was hard too, but like watching a brother pass was like rock bottom for sure. Exactly. We don't love ourselves in a narcissistic way. We love ourselves politely with boundaries and trust. If you're wondering if you're a narcissist, you're not a narcissist. Narcissists would never question if they were a narcissist. So your internal check-in, because it's something, I'm a recovering people pleaser, right? Like I will forever be a people pleaser to some extent, but I have to like check in and reassess my boundaries. And, you know, like yesterday I was with people that I didn't like all of them. It's just part of work, right? I'm at a work event. There are people that are there that are doing things that I don't respect. There are people there that are not kind and strategically using people, and I can tell. Like there were just people there that I was not vibing with. And it got to the point in the night where one of them did something to me that I was like, and I'm going to leave the scene now. And I left. Not because they won, but because I was like, okay, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I've had enough. It's time to go. And, you know, I took myself out of the situation. But back to the cup. I mean, your mental landscape is in your control. No one else. I mean, you're letting other people have control over your mental landscape, but no one else should. So for me with clients, that's the first area that I start with. Where I recently had a male client who is, you know, very artistic and very talented and had issues with ADD and his food. Like he was an overeater and he would spend money, and his wife ended up divorcing him, and he was like at a rock bottom. And he struggled, and I asked him, you know, because he would say things about, he would like joke about himself. He would be like, yeah, you know, I'm just like fat and lazy. So like I can't, whatever. And I said, I'm uncomfortable having you speak about yourself that way, because when you make I am statements, you are saying to your body, to your brain, to source energy, this is how I want you to reinforce me. Okay? Like by saying I am this, you are, the universe wants to give you what you are. So it's like, oh, okay, well then let's order pizza and tell you to eat the whole thing. And versus like, let's get a steak and like grill vegetables and like tell our body that we're healthy and we need nutrients and whatever. So that's where I caught in our intake form how he would speak about himself. And I got to a phase of the conversation where he was like, well, you know, my buddy, he did this, so I told him he was like a fat slob. And I was like, oh, interesting. Were you like this with your guy friends growing up? Oh yeah, you know, because this is what guys do, right? This is why I work with a lot of men, because I feel bad for men. Men are said or taught you can't express your feelings. You have to be tough, you have to be masculine, you have to whatever. And this was something I observed last night. I was with a man who's probably in his late 50s, and we were talking to two guys in their 20s. And the man in his 50s and the two guys in their 20s, completely different levels of testosterone. The man in the 50s was like a hunter. He was an achiever. He was like a go-getter. He was like bold. He was wealthy. And the guys in their 20s were like, that's not something I'm comfortable or confident. They were like leaning into like, oh, I would never put myself out there. So you have this really bold man who's going after everything in his 50s, and you have these 25-year-old men that are afraid to take a step. And I blame that on the testosterone levels of like water and food right now. But I think that's a big problem with the emotional landscape of the planet right now. Me Too movement came out, and men are not taught to have emotions. And then these women who are successful, driven, put together, healthy, for the most part, not anybody's perfect, right? I'm not going to come on here and say that women are like all figured out and worked it out. There's a lot of women that need to go to therapy. I think I Googled it last week, and 21% of women are in therapy and like 8% of men are in therapy. I was very disappointed that it was only 20% for women, let alone 8% for the men's. So that was a little disappointing. But also, is talk therapy my first thing that I think is going to help you? No, I don't think talk therapy actually helps you change. I think talk therapy gets you comfortable speaking about yourself and open to the process of configuring your brain in a way of cause and effect, of reflection. I think going to talk therapy to get you comfortable speaking to someone about your thoughts leads you down the path of being comfortable talking to yourself about your thoughts. Because I think in isolation and self-reflection, meditation, affirmations, journaling, solo travel, going to dinners by yourself, going to the movies by yourself, doing activities that you love by yourself is one of the most powerful ways to make shifts and changes. For me, I think doing psychedelic was one of the most powerful things, but I'm also here to tell you, and I have a video about this, I think breath work, which is free and you can do it by yourself day in and day out all day long, or every day, at least for 20 minutes per day, like even 15 minutes, is life-changing. Your body holds on to energy. It holds on to beliefs. It holds on to what you believe. So when you are in your kitchen and you spill the milk, I'm so stupid. Universe, this is not how I'm speaking about myself. I'm going to just disclaimer. I'm so stupid. What an idiot I am. Oh my God, how dumb. This is so annoying. I'm so mad. You know, like, look what I did. What a mess. Like, this is the worst thing. Like, first of all, spilling the milk's not the worst thing. Okay, you got white people problems. Like, there's bigger things going on. First world problems, that's what I meant. First world problems, if you spill the milk, that's the worst thing in the world. Like, there's just so many other things for you to be concerned about or stress out about, and that ain't it. And you are telling yourself in that moment to send more opportunities to reaffirm that, to confirm that. So then later in the day, you're going to not get an opportunity that you were hoping for, or you're going to flirt with someone and they're not going to reciprocate because you already believe that about yourself. So saying that causes the universe to confirm that because your vibration is pushing it away. So again, how do you get the confidence? How do you fill the cup? Well, first of all, I mean, not saying that you have to hire someone, but it's really helpful to have someone externally that is not a friend guide you. I'm going to tell you a secret. On average, 80% of your friends if you were to tell them that you had a great opportunity, would be jealous. Not in like intentionally, but there would be an internal like, because listen, I work on myself. I'm a mindset coach and all of this. When someone's like, yeah, I went on this great date and we dated for a couple months and now we are thinking about moving in together and we're talking about getting married, I get a twinge of why her, not me. It's human. It's a literal human reaction to life, okay? But what I need you to reframe is, you don't want what they have. You don't want to take what they have because there's enough for all of us. You want to change your energy in a space to where you're like, yeah, mine's coming. Instead of saying like, because like, again, it's a knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, I'm so jealous, or I want that. If that is your first reaction, your vibration is off. You have to reground and rebalance, because you thinking in that knee-jerk reaction that you can't or won't is telling you that your vibration is not calibrated to the success of you getting it. I know that there's people in your life that are very successful with business, very successful with love, very successful with different aspects. Like, people have buckets where they're very strong. I'm strong in business. I crush business. I am successful in business. Love, it's a different bucket for me. It's something that I have to work at. And this, ladies, I want you to learn your human design. Learning my human design, understanding my astrological chart was life-changing for me, because I genuinely think, sorry, I'm getting text messages and I need to. Ladies, I think that you will love this response. I am using the new Hinge aspect where a friend writes a review about me. And this friend wrote this like beautiful message, and this guy's like, hey, your friend wrote a review that says that you have like high standards. What does that mean? And I said, sir, if you have to ask me what they are, you've disqualified yourself. It's not my job for me to tell you how to treat me. I need you to show me how you're going to treat me, and then I'll let you know if you're treating me the way I want to be treated. Because if you tell a man, ladies, we talked about this last week, if you tell a man how to treat you, he's going to do that for 3 to 6 months, and then he's going to crash out because he was like performing so that he could like bang bang and like have use to you, and like he was performing. He was like performing so that he could have access to you, versus you just saying, oh, like, show me who you are. Like, what a man's like, what are you looking for? What are you offering? It's a way better answer to that question. I forget what I was going, but like the guy responded to my response on that. So it took me off track. I think I was referring to the jealousy of someone having something that you want. So if you have friends in your life that are triggering insecurities, not intentionally, but are like telling you like opportunities that they're getting, and you're feeling this like this heat, this like, you know, like, you know that feeling that I'm talking about when someone says something and you're like, why not me? Why don't it? That tells me that your vibration is not calibrated to the belief system that you actually think that you can have it, receive it, deserve it. We got to start there. So if you're noticing that, I would like you, this is homework for today. It's Sunday service, so let's give you some spiritual homework to do. Your homework for today is, when that happens, I mean, obviously, if you're at home and you have the time in your day, I want you to get a journal or a piece of paper. I don't know if I can care. It could be whatever. I want you to write it, though. None of this. You need to, like, there's science that, like, writing things out is way more beneficial and, like, moving through energy. I need you to write a letter to yourself. I need you in that moment when you are like, what age version of you is triggered? For me, a lot of the times it's like 8 to 14. That's like, for me, probably the most tumultuous time of my childhood. Like, from 0 to 7, you're programmed. And then I think from 8 to 14, I was questioning the programming, because I was like, this isn't healthy. My family life is making me feel like I don't belong. I don't feel like I fit into my own family. Then I go to school and I feel like I don't fit in. So it was like this constant, I don't know where I belong, because I never felt included or appreciated or loved. So for me, when I have someone say like, oh, I met this guy and like it's been a couple months, and like also if you meet a friend and after 2 months they're like moving in together, that's not gonna last. It's like, don't worry about them. Don't, it's probably gonna crash out because that's just way too fast. And I want you to think in your body, like, where am I feeling this in my body? Am I feeling it in my stomach? Am I feeling it in my chest? Am I feeling it in like my heart beating? Like, is my whole body tingling? Like, write a letter to the version of yourself that is feeling those feelings and name them, list them. Excuse me, hiccups. Say them out loud. Like, my heart rate is beating really fast right now. I feel sick to my stomach. And if you just ask yourself, if you just sit with your actual thoughts for a second, why am I feeling, ooh, I just got tingles. Why, and then I got tingles even more. Why is my heart rate faster? Why am I feeling a lack? What is triggering here? What is making me feel a racing panic? What age am I? What scene of my childhood is coming up? Like, if there was like a moment on the playground or in the classroom or in your bedroom or on the school bus or, you know, like with your parent, like, what is the scene that your body goes back to when you hear that someone else has something that you don't have? What is that bringing up for you? Because that's the tell. That's the part of your body that is taking control of your vessel at that moment of jealousy, we'll call it envy, and steering you in like we're not gonna have that. Let's go over here. Like, whatever. Like, you like jolted out of, like, instead of leaning in and being like, you know, how is this relationship like with this person? Like, because healthy people leave clues. So if you have friends, this is one of the biggest tips I can give you, ladies. Take advice from people that are in relationships that you respect. This is a big error in my ways when I moved to Chicago and I had that twin flame and I was like, how do I make it better? You know what she told me to do? The day he dumped me, she told me to go to the nightclub till 2:00 in the morning, dance in the window, and make out with someone. How do you think he responded to that? Now, in the moment, first of all, she was a mom, right? She was 15 years older than me, and I trusted her. Maybe she's wiser. Maybe she knows what to do. So I did all that, and it made it worse. And it made me, that was the moment where I was like, oh, I need to consider the source. I need to be paying attention to the friends that I have and collaborating do I want what they have? Like, if you have friends that are doom and gloom, complaining, blaming everyone, pointing fingers, victim narrative, those are not the people you should be getting advice from. Those are not the people that you should be sharing your secrets with, working through things with. You need to go to your friend that you can tell they respect their partners, they're nice to their children, they're successful. Those are the people that I need you to start hanging out with. Those are the people that I need you to be like, hey, can we like sit down because I'm going through this? And they will give you clues. They won't tell you what to do because a healthy person should not ever tell any person what to do, but they're going to be able to give you examples of what they have as boundaries, what they find as healthy, what they feel happened in the scenario that you described that maybe should be looked at differently. That's a huge, easy, free thing that you can do, is changing the people that you share your struggles with and sharing it with people that you aspire to be. I mean, that's why there's mentors, right? Mentors exist to take someone that doesn't have the experience, who's learning, and show them a physical representation of success in that position. And be like, I am embodying what you wish to be. This is what that looks like. When a man says like, hey, what should we do? I don't answer that. I don't tell him what we should do. I give him ideas of what I like, but I'm not going to schedule it. I'm not going to Google it and make the reservation and like tell him where to meet me. That's not, when he's in courtship, those are his responsibilities. Those are the aspects of dating where he's proving to me that he's going to take care of me, because ultimately I'd like to be taken care of by a man, as I also take care of him. Like, it's the yin and the yang, it's the feminine and the masculine. I believe as women, it is our job to allow a man to have the emotional safety to open up, to be vulnerable, to share what it is he is desiring, and help to femininely, ooey gooey softly hold space for him, to lift him, to go receive and achieve that. Not by telling him how to do it, not by nagging him to do it, not by demanding that he do it, not by forcing it, by doing part of it for him and saying, you finish the rest. Like that, you're being a mom. A man doesn't want a mom. He wants a woman. He wants ooey gooey divine encouragement, right? So for dating, you want in courtship for a man to show you that he can lead. And then you divinely feminine energy, let him know you appreciate him leading. And then you provide him some of your feminine power. It's like this dance that you have with courtship. Like something that I'm learning in dating right now is going slowly. And I didn't understand that I was 100 miles an hour. I mean, that's how I drive. But I didn't understand that in relationships, I was going 100 miles an hour, because it took me going celibate in 2023 to understand that men were love bombing me. Men were putting me in the car and giving me all 5 love languages so that I got hooked and latched, so that they could vampire energy suck me and discard me. So for me as a woman, I understood that someone texting me a lot, someone wanting to see me every time or every day, all day, every week, someone telling me future faking, like, oh, I'm going to take you here, I'm going to do this with you, we're going to have this kind of life. That's all fake. That's not what you want in courtship. No. You want a man that slowly gets to know you, not interviews you, but asks you questions about your mindset, what your preferences are. When you set a boundary, he respects it. When you're flirting and he takes it a little far and you're like, hey, I like what you're saying, but we're just not there yet. And he's like, you're right. Let me pull it back a little bit. It's so hot. I had that this week. So hot. Where you're like, hey, I'm into that, but not yet. And he's like, cool. Okay. I'm glad that we're on the same page, but you're right. Let's slow it down a little bit. 'Cause sometimes guys, that like adrenaline gets pulsing, or pulsing, and you gotta like, hey, like I'm there, but we're not there. And a respectful, kind man will respect your boundary. He will appreciate your boundary. He will be like, okay, thank you for letting me know. Let's, get back and go into the more whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? So with courtship, you want to learn from a healthy relationship how they were dating, how they presented each other, how they spoke to each other. There is the fluke. I got friends from every era of my life that met at a nightclub, ended up dating, eventually got married, and now they're together like 15 years later, and they're happy for the most part. But like I met a couple a few weeks ago at the Windy City Smokeout. I did a video on that one, and I showed them they had matching tattoos. They'd been together 19 years. They met, I think, at like 23, out in the suburbs of Chicago. And she came over after the first date, and she basically never left. And now they have several kids, and they're both very happy. That happens, okay? But I'm gonna guess they were from families where there were boundaries, and they, personally, I was from a toxic family. So like there's different realities that we've lived in that reaffirm what is normal to us. So if you're struggling with dating, find friends that are in healthy relationships and talk to them. Don't talk to your single friends. Do not ask your single friends for advice. Listen, as a girl who's single, talking about relationships on the internet, I get it. I'm calling myself out, sure, but I am dating and I am aspiring to have a partner. So I would say I am a healthy dater because I have people constantly hiring me to help them with dating. And I have helped many of people get married. Like, I'm talking hundreds of people are in healthy, loving relationships now because of me. So I know that I'm in a space for a healthy relationship, and I'm, dating someone right now that I'm excited about. We'll see. But I also understand that it's a different world of dating now, because I used to meet someone and after a few weeks be like, okay, why aren't we boyfriend, girlfriend? No, that's not how I date anymore. So I've been babbling now for almost an hour. Let's go back and see if there were any questions. I am a model. Thank you for saying sorry for your loss. It was pretty heavy. Curves. I did a TikTok recently where I made mention about men that are super cut are the same thing as super skinny for women. Like, not all women like super cut men, and not all men like super cut women. And I like them a little squishy. Let's see. Losing a family member is so hard. I don't know what that is, Mike. I do wear confidence. Thank you. I'm telling you, this conversation that I had with this man last night, he was like, you just radiate power. You just magnetically pulsate that you own your femininity, that you are respectful and not selfishly, egotistically in love with yourself, but in love with yourself in a way that you have boundaries and that no one can come into your space to disrespect you. And that, my friends, was such a compliment, because I was like, that is exactly how I feel. Exactly how I feel. He's like, no, it's palpable. Let's see. I don't block people. I don't block people. No, I don't block people. Exactly. You need to focus on yourself, build a strong threshold with yourself, put yourself, above all. Yes. I even like what you said there about kids. I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion right now. This is gonna rattle some of you. And I'm unapologetically going to defend this. I believe that when you get married, your relationship to each other in a way is more important than the children. And let me explain this to you. The emotional capacity and healthiness of the way a mother and father speak to each other, take care of each other, share space with each other, is setting the example for the children within the home. So your healthy relationship with one another is the example that you set for your children. And ladies, I'm looking at you. When you have a baby and you make that baby more of a priority than your husband, no. I do not stand for that. I believe you need date night. You need to take care of your man. You are the divine feminine, and a man will flatline without your divine feminine ooey gooiness. He needs you to put him as a priority. I love that you love your baby. I love that you take care of your baby, but your man is your first responsibility. Because if that man does not feel your divine ooey gooiness, if he does not feel loved, respected, cared, and like nurtured, he will crash the fuck out. And then the whole house will fall apart. Okay? You need to take care of, and I'm not saying like be his mommy, not take care of him that way, but like allow him space to vent, encourage, motivate, allow him to share, allow him to complain, allow him to open up, tell you what's bothering him and struggling him, and don't talk about yourself. I know the women's are gonna not like this, and I don't care. This is what I think is wrong with marriages: is women get married, they make the baby the first priority, and again, I want that for you. But look in the animal kingdom. What animal at 9 years old is still being babied by its mommy? Right? Like babies are born and they're walking. There's animals chasing them. They gotta figure it out. They gotta like really, like, sure, a mother's instinct is always there. A mother will always like want to take care of her child, whatever. But the baby is taught at a very young age, right? Humans are the only ones where we don't do that. And there are societies in the world where in junior high, they make them do psychedelics. They make them go on voyages. They make them go hunting. They make them become self-sufficient because they are taught to lean into their masculine energy. And these mommies be coddling these baby boys. And I think that's why when I'm having the conversation with the 50-year-old man and I'm having the conversations with the 25-year-old men, the 25-year-old men have been mommied too much. And they are leaning into this like fear-based, I can't, I would never, that's selfish. Like they're so afraid to go after something because mommy's probably done a lot of it. And that's not attractive to a divine feminine energy. I don't want a man. I had a man once dump me at a coffee shop because I didn't want to talk to United Airlines for him about changing his flight. We have been dating like 10 days. 10 days. And this man, and he's now dating someone even older than I am. I want to say she's like early 50s maybe. And she, in videos, I see them now as a couple. She is his mom because that's what he was looking for. Listen, that works for them. They're engaged. Will they ever get married? I highly doubt that. But he wanted a man that was a mommy because that's how his mom had raised him, being like coddling and taking care of him. He had never been pushed out of the nest. And that's what a mom needs to start doing. Not abusively, not rudely, but with her divine feminine. You have to trust your child to make choices. You have to teach them how to behave. You have to encourage boundaries, self-respect, self-love. And then you have to step back and let them practice what you've taught them and go on vacations and dates with your husband and have private time outside of the house. Let the kids be with a babysitter or whatever, and like, or go to a friend's house. And like, I really leaned into that. Let me get back to the comments. Okay, extreme bike builds. I love that for you. How old are you? I'm curious. Thank you. Is it Chef J Dog? Kimball Cordova, thank you for saying that. I appreciate you. 50s does come from a different era, and I want to get back to that. I don't want to get back to all of it because I think men were not allowed to be emotional. And the guy last night that I was talking to actually cried at the event because there was a young man that was at the event, one of the young men that we were saying goodbye to at the end where we had the conversation. But he had met a young man at this networking event where he knew the guy's parents very well. And he loved this guy's parents. So for him to meet their son, he was like, oh my God. And he literally started crying in front of a group of men, attorneys, mind you, very successful, predominant men. And he teared up. He was like, wow, this is so beautiful. I love your parents. And when he teared up, I was like, I need to know this man. I need to talk to this man. And then I, in a different area of the networking event, had been really being nice to both the servers. One, Mary, was from Ireland, and one, Edgar, was from Mexico. Poco, something, Pachuca. He was from Pachuca, Mexico, I think. And every time he was coming over, I was like, thank you, Edgar. And like, he was like, you remember my name. Like to tell a server by their name in like a networking environment is like life-changing for them. So I had been like really like kind to him. And after he had started to cry, the server came over, and this man was really nice to the server. And he was like speaking to him in Spanish. And I was like, okay, this man is my vibe. So we started speaking about like me losing my brother and like all this stuff. And he was like just fascinated. And we were like, just like engulfed in this conversation. And he walked me down, and that's when this guy had said goodbye. And I was like, hey, are you going to go to this other party? And he was like, oh, I'm going to go home and do this. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to this party if you like want to join and like go dancing. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And the older guy was like, dude, you have this like amazing woman who's like basically asking you out, and you're not sure? And he was like, yeah, I want to like go home. And it was very confusing. But anyways, different times. Simps on the internet make guys that aren't creepy weirdos look bad. Facts. But I am here to raise the roof for those men, because the men that aren't creeps and weirdos, I spot those men. I applaud those men. I will tell those men, I see you. I like you. Keep going. I try to encourage it as much as I see. Studies have shown that the generations have less testosterone. And I think that's because what they're putting in our water, there's a lot of, what's the female hormone? Estrogen in our water. I don't think it's men's fault, but there are a lot of men that I've recently dated that have been taking testosterone. So men, if you are feeling insecure, low self-worth, please go get your hormones tested. Please go to a doctor, get your blood work done, tell them you're concerned about your testosterone levels, and check them. Because I don't even think it's within your control. I think you've been consuming food and water so long with estrogen in it. Like all fast food has heavy estrogen in it. And we were raised on fast food, let's be serious. So check your levels. Yeah, Lim D gets it. Nobody is perfect. Yeah, people in therapy are emotionally unregulated, but I do think talk therapy gets you open to discussing your feelings and start to have a conversation with yourself. Listen, solo travel, in my opinion, is the best thing you can do for yourself. The idea that men aren't taught to have emotions is a lie. We were taught to be strong and deal with our issues, and we used to have men-only spaces that allowed us to deal with those issues. I don't know what you mean by men-only spaces. Like, what did you have back then that you don't have now? I would love for you to elaborate on that. And I speak from experience that in my household, when my little brothers were sad and cry, my stepfather would beat them. So in my household, men were not allowed to have emotions. They were told to quit being a baby. They were told to suck it up, and they were 5. And I used to, with my stepdad, I would be 10. This is when it started, when I was around 10. And my brothers were 5 and 6. And he would verbally and physically, and I as a 10-year-old, because my mom wasn't doing anything, I, as a 10-year-old, stood up and I said, this is not okay. And he's like, they're my kids. And I said, this is not okay. You cannot treat my brothers this way. I had balls at 10 years old to go up against a man who was taller than me and bigger than me. But I knew that that was not okay. And it unfortunately caused my brother a lot of distress. And I think that's why he died in 2022. I think he was very emotionally incapable. He hadn't told any of his friends that his mom had died 2 years earlier. He hadn't had conversations with therapists or his friends about mourning the loss of his mom. And I think he was alcoholic, band-aiding himself, and he drowned because he was drunk. So there are men that are taught to not have emotions. So I don't agree with you. Brian J gets it. Breath work for the win. Alcohol is not good for you. Telling the truth is usually hurtful. Telling someone how you actually feel will hurt their feelings. But disrespecting yourself by not speaking up for yourself is more hurtful, is more neglectful. And at the end of your life, who's going to be there with you? The person whose feelings you cared about or you? Again, not encouraging narcissistic, but if someone is not respecting you, if someone is, you can tell that they don't really like you, but they're pretending that they do. You're saying one thing and then they're doing it, right? Over and over repeatedly and not respecting you, saying, I don't like that you do that. It's time to pull away. It's time to leave the room. It's time to walk away from that person. Like, you don't have to explain yourself to everyone. My favorite thing is gray rock. As someone that's been narcissistically devoured for decades, my favorite thing is to not say anything. It's my favorite thing. Because not only are you preserving your energy, but you're exhausting them because they're trying to figure you out. You just like standing there and not taking the bait and just being happy genuinely, it's the best payback you could ever do. Let's see. Jealousy is a negative emotion, but I don't know if there is a human being besides monks that meditate all day that don't get jealous. I think you'd be lying to yourself to say that you don't ever expect to be jealous, because jealousy is like a ping. It's like a reaction. It's not that you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to be jealous that you have it. It's like a visceral, like, oh, why do they have that? I want that. It's not about the person. It's about the wave that comes over when you hear that someone has what it is you're aspiring to do or have. Right, yeah, Kimball Cordova, you get it. It's not that you don't want your friends to have it. It's like, when am I gonna get mine? Right? But when you feel that, why don't I have it? When am I going to get mine? That's an affirmation that your vibration doesn't feel you're deserving enough, so you won't receive it. That's what I was trying to say earlier, is like, when you see someone having something and you're like, that's a cue that you have more to work on within yourself to get rid of that knee-jerk reaction. That knee-jerk reaction is a limiting belief that you're carrying that you need to clear and heal so that you can receive what it is you're visibly seeing. And also, a lot of times when you see these happy, loving relationships, they're fake. So like, don't be jealous of fake. A lot of people are pretending. Let's see. I agree with you, Kill Switch. Men do mirror energy and women mirror energy too. Like what we are attracting into our life is what we are radiating. So when you are saying, oh, I don't want to date because every guy's a loser, all the guys are going to be losers, because like you're literally mirroring what you feel. Like if you think every guy's going to hurt you or cheat on you, that's what's going to happen. But if you feel, oh, the men that I date are going to respect me, and when they show you that they aren't, you just politely go away, the next guy will respect you more. And then you reaffirm that you love yourself and you have boundaries, and then the next guy will love you more. It's like this tiered cake that you're climbing, right? Like every time you level yourself up, the people that you attract also level up. The opportunities that you attract. It's science, guys. So I'm gonna go here in about 5 minutes. Let me go to the bottom. There's so many. Thank you, Wuha. I think whoa, YB. I don't know what you're. It's really hard for me to see. The phone's farther away. Thank you, Kimball. Yes, don't forget to hit a thumbs up to support me. It would mean so much to me. Hello to the UK. We don't have Yoda today. I decided to do it a little earlier or a little later. And you guys, I literally got home so late. I didn't even wake up till 8 o'clock, which I normally stream at 9. So I would have not been in the best space. I'm 5'11". Okay, I'm glad you agree, John Doe, about the wives giving the little babies too much. Well, Kira, of course, he needs to be doing his duties. I would never reciprocate feminine divine ugu with a man who's not doing his responsibilities. But you wouldn't be in a partnership with someone that wasn't doing his responsibilities, because you would have worked that out before you married that kind of man. See, that's the thing, is I think a lot of people get married before they've worked on themselves. So they marry their mirror and they marry their insecurities. They marry someone that matches them, and then they have a relationship where it's combative because you guys are teaching each other how to level up. And a lot of times people are combative and mirroring each other, and one just gives up because he doesn't want to Freudian slip, because they don't want to do the work. Sometimes the women don't want to do the work. And so the relationship crumbles because the one person or partner doesn't want to do the work, even though we learn the best and the fastest in relationships. Like I was saying last week about interviews, like you don't go on one date and you're like, okay, you're my boyfriend, you're going to treat me perfectly. Like no one knows what you have as expectations in your mindset. No one knows how you want to be treated in courtship and dated and wooed, and like your love languages. Nobody knows that on the first date. But a lot of times we're going on a first date and we're like, oh, your mom was mean to you? Mine too. Oh, you grew up in this suburb? Oh yeah, me too. Oh, you're in marketing? Yeah, I know marketing. Okay, let's hang out. We're compatible. You like the Bears? Oh, me too. No, that's not how you figure out if you're compatible. It's in the relationship you realize that you're compatible. So after a couple months, you realize maybe this job isn't for me and I want to go to a new company and try dating someone new. So we definitely need a man to pull his weight. Lindy, let's be respectful, okay? Let's not accuse strangers on the internet of being a certain way, because we've never met one another. So we can't really accuse anybody of anything. And I love that you want to be a player. You know, if that's what you want, I'm pretty confident that you're going to feel broken at the end of your life because you don't have anyone there to wipe your ass, but that's your free will to choose. Let's see. I will not be any of your moms. I don't wish to be any man's mom until I have a child. Thank you, Kira. Brandon is a creep. Let's actually block Brandon. Boom. Thank you, Kira. He's blocked. My favorite American. What's up, Lukey? I hope that's okay. I call you Lukey. Thank you, Lim. Exactly. Boys ask about leggings. Exactly. Lim, thank you. So I feel like I'm all caught up. Perfect. Thank you, Shelly. I'm so glad you came back. It's so good to see you. I hope you had a really good week. Soul purpose motivation. Thank you so much. May God bless you as well. Oh, I love it. I'm going to check out your community. Thank you. All right, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful week. Mercury retrograde is finally over. Praise Jesus. We're in the, speaking of God, we're in the, I forget the word after Mercury retrograde. There's like a week where the energy is still a little murky. So there may still be some miscommunication and some travel issues, but we're moving into something to do with Saturn. I'm not an astrologist, but I follow astrology. And the people that harmed you or hurt you in the past are about to get vengeance. So get your popcorn. So grateful to meet you as well, Shelly. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much.